Hello everybody, and thanks for checking out my review. Today I'll be going over the Casio G-Shock. This is the GMW-B5000GD-1CR. Module number on this is 3459, so if you wanted to look up the instruction manual to see what kind of features they have in this watch, just do a Google search for Casio 3459. Typically you can find the modules in a PDF format, real easy to find. So going into the boxing, they changed things up a little bit. I'm used to a black box with red outlines basically. Right now they went with a black and white box with kind of a graphite gray color. They got the barcode on the back with the model and the module number, and opening up the box you get your instruction manual written in many different languages, of course. You have information on the solar, you have FCC information, and then your warranty information. So you have a card, and then it just gives you the warranty information along with the tag in here. And going into the watch itself, once again, where they used to do it with all black with red writing, they went with the graphite tin, and it's textured on the top with the writing. A little bump with the G-Shock logo. On the bottom, nothing there, and just a G-Shock logo onto the front and the back there. Now going into the watch itself, as you'll see, you have a negative display on the screen, and you have the brick outer layer there. And just to give you a quick physical walkthrough, you'll notice that the bezel, or the case, it's kind of brushed vertical finish on it, and the case itself has a high polish. It's an ion coated, very high strengthened process on the steel that they use. And then you move down to the bracelet, and it's got more of a matte finish to it. On the back, where the screw back is, you're looking at a DLC finish on that, same thing that you'd get on the GW5000. And the thing that I really like about this watch is, first of all, you can adjust this right out of the box. So if you don't have tools to be able to adjust a watch, you don't have to really worry about it. You can get a paper clip and basically use the spring bars that they have within the links themselves. So it's really easy to move links around where you need to. Plus the fine sizing detail here. You got the micro adjustments on the clasp here as well, so you can really fine tune the fit, which is really nice. And going into the watch itself, so it's a lot easier to read than a lot of different negative displays that I've seen in the past. It's got a really nice light on it as well, so if you take a look here, when you press the light, it's really, really bright. And you have a setting in there where you can have it where the light turns on when you turn your wrist, but that's what you're looking as far as the lighting goes. It's like an LED light. Alright, and going into the actual look of the display, what you're looking at is the day of the week, the month and day. You get the time in seconds, and then the top left shows you the power save mode, the auto light function, and the received notification. Underneath the date, it's going to show you the alarm and the hourly time signal activity status. So it basically tells you if it's on, off, and which alarms are on or off. And then there's also a low battery warning indicator. So when the battery gets low, the atomic time, the light, sounds, and phone connection functions will disable. So if the battery drops further, all functions, including the timekeeping, will disable, and the display will show CHG, which is obviously for charge. If the battery dies, all memory data is lost, and the watch goes back to all factory defaults. So one more note, if you do see an R flashing, all functions except for timekeeping are disabled due to high power consumption. Depending on the light source, it could take anywhere between 3 hours and 16 hours for minimum charge level, and 45 to 274 hours for full charge. Keep in mind that's the difference between a sunny day outside being the best and indoor fluorescent being the worst. So going into the button configuration, you have the top left is for the adjust, The bottom left is for mode, and then the top right and the bottom right, they're multifunction. So for instance, like I was showing before, this is typically a set minus, but you press it and you get the light source. And then on the other one, you get a little receiving notification. It tells you if you ended up receiving the time through the atomic time clock. Now, one nice thing about this before I get into the modes is when you're going through the modes, there's a nice little feature in here where if you wanted to set the stopwatch, you're done with the stopwatch. Rather than having to cycle through all the modes, you can keep it pressed and it brings you back to the timekeeping screen. Alright, so walking you through the modes, it's pretty simple on this watch. I'm going to show you both ways. I'm going to show you how to work with the modes on the watch itself. I'm going to show you how to work the modes within the application as well. So some really cool features that work back and forth. So just to start off with, I'm going to walk you through the settings of the watch. Time setting is fairly easy. What you're going to do is to get into the setting mode, you press the top left and you hold on to it until you see that it's in set there. So what you're going to look at first is your home time zone. So right now it's scrolling through New York. You can change that up to any city around the world. So you just press down or up, and these will give you the minus or plus that I was talking about earlier with the button configurations. I'm in New York, so I will keep it at New York. And one thing that I really like about this, as you notice, is there's in that top box there, that home time, it scrolls through. I really like that. So going through the settings, you're going to press the mode button to get to the next section. So right now it's got the auto off, and that's for receiving the time. And going into the next section here, you're going to be able to set your seconds. So when you press the button, you can zero it out. Next section is your hours. It's default to 12-hour time format. And next one is minutes, of course. Up and down. And going to the next section, you got your year. Next section is your month. Next section is your day of the month. And then you go to your 12 or 24-hour format. So if you're working on military time. And the next section here gives you the format of the month and the date. So if you wanted to have it where the month shows first and the date shows second, or vice versa, that I know that there's other sections of the world that work with date and month. Next section is English or Spanish, as far as on French actually, and you got German, Italian. That one I don't know. I guess Czech. So yeah, so basically it walks you through on the languages when you're working with the watch. Next section there is if the key buttons, when you're pressing the buttons typically, if they have a key sound or not. So I'll keep that on. And then you have your light. So it gives you the choice of 2 seconds or 4 seconds when the light is activated. Then you get the receive on or off. So basically you can have it received through the atomic watch towers, or you can have it received through your phone, which is handy. Then you get the power save on or off. And then you're back to the main setting screen. So going back into the regular time here, we go into the world time. So what this allows you to do, and this is where it works really well with the application as well, is this allows you to, of course, scroll through a second time zone. So if you do a lot of traveling, you can keep that on your wrist. And then through the application, you can actually switch the time zones for the home time to be the time that you're traveling to, which is handy. Next section is your alarms. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's a snooze alarm. And then you have the hourly time signal. So you can have it where it just gives you every hour on the hour, it just gives you 2 beeps, let you know what time it is. And then usually the light activates along with those beeps. So those are your alarms. Going into your stopwatch, you press the bottom right and that gets it going. Press it again and it stops. Press it again, it starts going. The light can be activated while you're using the stopwatch. And then you press the setting to zero it out there. Next one up is the timer. So the nice thing about the timer is it's 24-hour, and the stopwatch is 24-hour, the timer is 24-hour. So when you're using the timer, you could set it up to hours, minutes, and you can even go to seconds, which is really nice. So I can give you an example here. Hold on to the setting button there, and so if I wanted to bring it down, and one other thing I'm going to mention while I'm going through this is you'll notice in the top right box it keeps the time at all times, so timekeeping always stays there. So I can back this down to, for instance, 0 hours, move it to 0 minutes. I can set up for 2 seconds, press the setting button, start it. And it's not a very loud alarm, but it does get your attention. One thing that I wish that they added into this watch was a vibration mode. But next up is you're back to your world time, your home time rather. Alright, so now I'm going to go through the application. So what you want to do is you want to go to either Android store, or you want to go to the iTunes store, you want to download the Gshock connected app. And once you have that downloaded, what you want to do is you want to go into the app, and you're going to see a nice little graphic there that'll take you to the first instruction, which is go to your watch, press that mode button for 3 seconds. You're going to see the confirmation first on your watch. That is connected. You let go of the button, and you're going to see on the application that the watch was found. You want to register the watch to the application, and a couple of seconds later, you're going to see that they're connected. Registration was successful. And then you're going to see, it'll take you right to world time. But I'm going to take you to the guide first, because one thing that's really good is, first of all, right off the bat, it tells you want to disconnect the watch. You press the button, pretty much any button on the watch, it'll disconnect the watch for you. But you can go into the view guide, and this is going to give you a walkthrough, simple walkthrough of all the functions that this watch does. It tells you what the buttons do and how to work them. Okay, going back into the world time. World time features really cool. It was something I was talking about earlier. So for instance, if I go into the London code here, gives me a map. So if I want to change it over to Paris, I could set the city over to the watch. Takes a couple of seconds to identify it. Nice graphic of the marker moving within the application, and we're set to go there. So now what I could do is I could set the world time and a home time and swap them off using the application. So you'll see if I wanted to switch it over to, for instance, Rio de Janeiro. And as a matter of fact, if you notice on the bottom right of the screen, you'll see that the home time is New York. So if I switch it over to Paris here, now you see the home time on the bottom right is Paris. Send the setting over to the watch. You'll see the graphic on the right side of the screen as it switches over. You're going to see on the left side of your screen that the confirmation took place. And now my home city is now Paris. If I want to switch it back over to New York, once again I put down the bottom left there where I want to switch it to. I press the little left and right arrow, move it back to New York. You'll see the graphic on the right. Send the setting over to the watch. It sends it back over. And I'm all set. You get the confirmation on the watch and everything. Next up is the time and the place. I'm not going to get too deep into this because I don't want my location being revealed on video. But basically it just lets you know that depending on the country or region, some actions using GPS may be subject to regulations. And X out of that. and we're going to go into the utility section. The utility section is really pretty much straightforward. You go into the alarm. You can set all 5 of your alarms off on here, turn them on, turn them off, and then you have your hourly time signal that you can turn off and turn on, send the setting to the watch. Everything happens just about instantaneously, which is handy. And you'll notice that when I did that, you see the center part on the notification on the alarm is off. I turn it back on, send the setting to the watch. You'll see all 3 little bars there. So it happens virtually real time. So I could set the watch really easy. So if I wanted to set it up, works in 24-hour time format, just to let you know. So if I wanted to set it up for, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1300. If I want to set it up for 8 o'clock in the morning, I could do that. Send the setting to the watch. Setting is complete. Get the confirmation on the screen. You're good to go. So that's how to work the alarms. Going back over to the timer, I could set it up. So right now I have it set for 2 hours, 5 seconds. I could set it up to 23 hours, 59 minutes, 4 seconds. Send the setting to the watch. So when I'm going to the modes, basically once I hit the timer, I'm going to see that that's what's going to be set up on the timer. So I can do it once again real time. Just to let you know, anytime you want to be able to work with the application in the watch, I mean, basically you open up the application, you hold your mode button for 3 seconds, you're going to connect, and you're going to be good to go. The next up is a reminder feature. Really cool feature. What happens is you go into the reminder. I have a test one set up here. So if I have the, you could set it on or off. You could set the title to whatever you want the title to be. It'll scroll through. And then you can set up the date, the period of time that you want it to go through, how many days, and then how many days of the week that you want it to go off on every week if you want it to be a repeating setting. So you send the setting to the watch. Once again, sets it all up. And the cool thing that happens is, number one, and I'm going to show you at the end of the video, when you press the light button, you're going to see the light turn on, and it's going to be followed by 2 red. It's going to flash red twice, and that's going to show you that you have a reminder. At that point, you press the setting button, and it'll tell you what the reminder is there for. So it'll scroll through. So if you needed to, go to a meeting at work, you have that reminder, you get to the store, you know that you're going to be there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you need to pick up milk, it'll remind you to pick up the milk, it'll stay there as long as you want it to, and then you can just change it real time on the app, wherever you're at. It's a really, really nice feature to have. And one extra little surprise feature that I really appreciate about this is, matter of fact, I could disconnect from the watch by pressing any button. So I'm now disconnected. You'll see the communication with the watch was terminated. So what's going to happen is if I lose my phone and I want to find my phone, all I have to do is press this bottom right button, keep it held. It's going to find my phone. You'll see the find feature on the top right. And then I'm going to get this tone that's going to happen on my phone. Let it go. There you go. So that's a nice extra little feature that you're going to find there as well. All right, now I want to do a little comparison with a couple of the other watches that I have here. So I'll give you the obvious comparison, which is the 5600. So if you look at the size comparison, it's pretty much the same size. Same thickness. Maybe it's a little bit thicker. Stainless steel on the back with the 5600C. This is the Frogman. Definitely a bigger, much thicker. Wears a lot differently, but this way at least you could see from a size comparison if you have these watches. And the other one I'm going to compare it to, it's interesting, is the Apple Watch. If you take a look here, it's kind of the same finish with the exception of the brushed front here. You got the polished on both of them and more of a matte finish on the bracelet. So it's almost like it was kind of modeled after the Apple Watch. So going into a wrist shot here, wears very nicely. Like I said, it's very easy to put together. As far as from a sizing standpoint, it's not noisy. I have a 7.5-inch wrist, and I think it fits just right. You know, one thing I did forget to mention through the walkthrough as well is the lugs are a little different on this one, to where when you look at the 5600C, I could remove the spring bars and replace these straps. With this one, the screw goes all the way through, so it's fixed. So that's the comparison with the other watches. All right, and just to show you what the reminder feature does after the fact, I just wanted to give you an example. So when you press in the light, you're going to see the light go on, and then you're going to see it go red. So at that point, you know that there's a reminder that's set up. So just to show you once again, and going into the light section here, if you press the setting button, it'll tell you what the reminder is there for. So you'll see it scroll on the top. So you can set any type of reminder that you want, and that would be it. So I want to thank you very much for watching this review. I hope it was helpful. Very nice watch. They have different variations. I know there's a stainless steel version. There's all different versions that you can play around with this watch. There's a negative version with rubber straps on it. There's an all steel version, a gold version. So definitely go to Casio's website. There's a great website. They've been sponsoring me for a few videos here. They'll be sending me more watches. topperjewelers.com. Definitely feel free to check them out. They sell these watches, and I want to thank you for your support over the years. If you want to be able to follow me, definitely go to Twitter. I'm at DougFNJ for really good discussion. I definitely encourage you to go to a great website. It's www.watch.seek.com. Great discussion there. Great forum for G-Shock users or any other watches that you currently have in your arsenal. And plenty of great discussion, great reviews, great videos. And then, of course, feel free to subscribe, please. And press the little bell so this way when I'm releasing videos, you'll get notified. Thanks again, and have a great day.